I asked a question in a post yesterday that what is the risk in homeschooling? What is the biggest risk in homeschooling? And mashallah, a number of people responded, and some of them are really good answers. I'll read some of them over here. Somebody said, Dania said, always guiding kids what to study or without considering their likes or interests. Um, Homeschool Joy said, the biggest risk and hazard for homeschooling is burnt out mothers. When we as mothers don't fill our cups, it can be hard, and the best resource is a happy mother. Um, then we have somebody else again talking about overburdening the children and comparing them with other children. All good answers, all great answers, and there's more. But right now, for everybody who's here, I wanted to extend this conversation with the live audience which is here. What do you think is the biggest risk in homeschooling? If we keep it conversation style, it will be more fun. And inshallah, I will share my thoughts, and I want to wrap this up under 20-25 minutes max. So type in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think is the biggest risk in homeschooling? Because homeschooling, I mean, we have a lot of opinions, and some of them are really from a good place. Some of us speak from a place of concern. Some of us speak from a place of personal experience and personal struggle. But it would be nice to know what your thoughts are. So what do you think is the biggest risk in homeschooling? I'm going to start reading your comments. There is going to be a little bit of a lag, so I'm being mindful of that. Let's see. I can't hear you. Somebody said I can't hear you. Am I audible on Instagram? Everybody on Instagram, please let me know. Type in and let me know if you can hear me. Um, Subia is saying losing your enthusiasm and lacking sincerity. Those are good ones. Those are good ones, mashallah. Okay, so everybody can hear. So whoever the person who said that I can't hear you, it must be at your end. Okay. Um, Zainab is saying being around our children too much to where that negativity affects our relationship. That's another good one. Mashallah, really good answers. Okay, loud and clear. Thank you, Iram. Okay, mashallah. Okay, so everybody can hear me. That's great. So, a lot of good answers. I'll read some of the answers that I saw on my post, which were really good. Relationship with kids may get threatened. Somebody said parents who aren't emotionally capable get upset with kids or yell at them if they don't want to learn or aren't learning well enough. That's another good one, mashallah. Somebody said running out of patience and screaming, yelling at them for the mistakes they make. Not being able to separate being mom and dad and teacher, or blurring the lines between the two. Either over coddling during teaching times or bringing school frustrations into family time. Kids get confused or overwhelmed because their learning life seeps into their family life. Um, Focusing too much on being a teacher and not a parent. Although the two overlap, the emotional needs of children can be overlooked if everything becomes about learning. Okay, so lots of good answers there, right? But here is my, in a nutshell, and I know many of these answers get very close to the um, actual problem, the biggest problem, which is at the core of this issue, right? So we have problems that surface because something at the core is not addressed, and so they're kind of like interrelated, right? It's kind of like a ripple effect of another problem at the core. So what is that problem which is at the core? The problem at the core, the biggest risk, and there are many risks, okay, by the way, there are many risks, and not all of them will be covered today, but I will talk about one specific risk which is the most critical. With this one, the consequences are too huge, right? So this is worth discussing, and I studied development, like child development, especially with the focus on relationships. So I'll speak in that capacity today, inshallah. Uh, Sabrine is saying forget ourselves. Yes, we do forget ourselves, and that's unhealthy because we can't keep, it's like the comment that where they talked about burnt out mothers, right? So yeah, we can't afford to forget ourselves. So there is a lot of there can be a lot of risks. Now, before I even begin this conversation, I do want to make sure that um, in the absence of some of these risks, the benefits are immense. Like homeschooling really gives us the freedom to really customize the education, really preserve what is naturally good in the children. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity. If a parent is capable, they're mentally and physically capable, if they have the resources, if they have the, if they can take it up. And when I say resources, I don't mean like a elaborate classroom or teaching qualification or any of that. As long as they have the willingness to do it, homeschooling is perhaps way better than school. And this is not to criticize schools. This is just because as a child, a parent is far more capable of providing what they need. The school can only harness what a child can bring, but a parent can really help this child grow to their full potential. That is regardless the case whether your child goes to school or not. That is just the truth. Like, you as a parent, what you do is far more critical, far more important than anything anybody else can do. It's a school, if a school receives a child who's not motivated to learn, who does not have who's not developmentally ready, let's say, or has some difficulty, or unmotivated, that school cannot really build this child. Like, they cannot make this child brilliant. Schools cannot make children brilliant. They can only provide the resources and the other things to kind of harness what is naturally there in the child. But a parent, by their mere presence, can give this child what a school can never do, which is this attachment, this relationship, this this nurturing relationship, this attachment, which is going to make all the difference. Now, why is this attachment so important? This attachment is kind of like, it's, a child grows in a mother's body, right? And it gets nourishment from the mother's body when it's inside the mother's body, right? But when the child comes out into this world, it's still kind of dependent on the mother, right? It's getting its nourishment from the mother. It's attached to the mother. The way we are created, there is benefits in us being close to our baby. If you think about it, like when a baby is held by the mother, the baby has oxytocin being released in their body, right? Even the parent. So this just the mere presence of the mother is actually going to put both of them at ease. Like, nature had a purpose behind this, right? When we are with our babies, their cortisol levels are low. They're just thriving, right? So our presence in our children's life, mere presence, I'm not even going into what we can teach and what we can do. No, I'm just talking about our presence, our physical presence itself is doing a lot of work, that they are a lot of nature's work, so to speak, so that they can develop fully. It's not just, somebody said it's the emotional needs. It's not just the emotional needs, the cognitive needs, like everything. The brain of a child who does not receive a proper, who does not have like a secure attachment with their parents or their primary caregiver, actually even their brain looks different when they look inside. And now in the recent years, we are able to really look inside the brain, as the children grow. So we know that physiological differences are, show up in the children when they don't have that secure attachment with their primary caregiver, in this case mothers, as we are talking in this conversation. So when a parent takes up homeschooling, and if they in the process of homeschooling them, let's say a child loses a parent, loses the mother, and I don't mean physically losing them. Like, I'm not talking about death. I'm talking about losing the parent in the process of homeschooling. Like, the parent is the teaching aspect of this job of homeschooling has somehow made the parent vanish. That is the only time when homeschooling would be a failure. Like 100% it would fail, because the role that we have as parents is far more important than our role as um, teachers. Because like I said, teaching can harness what development makes possible, right? But for their normal healthy development, they need the mother. They need the presence of the they need the secure attachment. And this is also for a reason, because we our chances of survival go up when we are attached. Like as a baby who's attached to this adult, their chances of survival in this world go up. Why? Because if they are attached to somebody, they would provide them food, they would provide them warmth and shelter and everything. So it's wired into us. This survival instinct is wired into us, that and so relationship or attachment is something that we seek as children. Like as children, as even adults, we need relationships. We're made that way, right? So uh, when the parent is lost in the process of homeschooling, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. Um, Parents also play the role of this buffer between the societal expectations and the child until the child is ready. And this is something that you will learn about um, from psychologists. I'm trying to make. Give me 1 second. I think somebody's saying that they can't hear. I'm not sure why that is the case. Um, I hope this will help. Okay. So, where was I? Yeah, the parents also act like a buffer between, the work of childhood is to move the child from dependent, this dependent baby to an independent, mature, emotionally, physically mature, fully functioning being, right? That's the work of childhood. The parents are actually like a buffer. They act like a buffer between the societal expectations and this child, so that we can keep that at a you can keep that at bay while this child finds himself, grows, and matures. That's the work of childhood, and that's the function of parents. And this is all from developmental psychology. Um, so attachment and this buffering that the parents do is very critical to their full development. So here's the thing. So when we start homeschooling, and especially when we start homeschooling like schools do, the problem, the schools cannot do a lot of things. They cannot do a lot of things. It's just not possible in that setting. They cannot individually meet the needs of the children. They cannot individually, and this is not just, I'm not talking about intellect. I'm also talking about much more than that. The teachers do a beautiful job when they are connected with the children, when they are attached to the children. Have you seen a student who's really attached to the teacher? What kind of, how they look forward to going to school, how they look forward to learning. Now, that if that's possible, schools are a great place. There's no doubt about that. But in most situations, the teachers are really limited in what they can achieve with a group of kids, right? And also, uh, the attachment aspect is not emphasized. It's not part of the agenda anymore. It's not part of the curriculum anymore. It's not part of the scope and sequence anymore. So when we push younger and younger kids into schools, what we are doing is we are disrupting this natural program, or this natural need that the children have. We as parents are in the best position to give them what they need fundamentally, at the fundamental level. Once we provide that, and once they grow up, inshallah, they will be able to learn well in any setting. Even when they go to, eventually, let's say they go to school or college or whatever, they are a separate, confident, competent being. And now they can go in anywhere and have meaningful attachments and relationships with other people. So, as a parent, when we begin to homeschool, we have to understand that this child's needs are fulfilled by my presence as a parent, as a mother. That has to be a primary concern. Because if we make our children lose the mother or the father in the process of homeschooling, if they lose their home in the process of homeschooling, then that's going to be a disaster. They need the home more than a school. Let me flip this and help you understand in a different way. Now, when COVID happened, a lot of children were forced to stay home, right? And a lot of people realized that the children don't want to be home. They want to be with their friends. You know why that is? That is because the children felt at home at school with their friends. They don't feel at home with their parents. Now, I guess, the relationship is based on achievement or some other factors, or the parents are really not mentally, physically, emotionally available to the children. This is an indication of that, right? So, the the primary relationship, so we attach to whoever is available to us, whoever is spending time with us, right? The secure primary caregiver's attachment is essential, right? So when the parents are not available, or the parents or the children, like in generally in school setting, what happens is the children spend a lot of time outside the home, right? So they're attached to the people that they spend time with. We know this when it comes to our relationships. Like we are told to spend time with our spouse. If we want to strengthen the relationship, somehow we flip we throw all of this wisdom out when it comes to children, which is a problem, because what we are saying is the socialization that happens between kids. um, we think that that's something that they achieve by practice, but actually it's that's not the case. That's not the case. It's not about practicing and getting comfortable in those settings. The children who are secure, the children who are not um, um, who are in a good place developmentally, they go in different settings and they're fine, right? And this happens at different ages for different children. But unless that is taken care of, those relationships, even those peer to peer relationships, can be unhealthy. I know I'm getting into a lot of relationship stuff, and I want to come back to homeschooling. So, I guess what is really important to remember is that the children really need us as parents more than anything else. There is just simply nothing that can replace this. So, uh, our role as parents is very important. Now, there is one more aspect that I want to cover, uh, that as human beings, we are moved to action. We are moved to action by our feelings. So, if I don't care about something, I won't do it, right? So there is we have an emotional side, we have an intellectual side, we have all of this. We are not just intellectual beings, we are also emotional beings, we are also there's more to us, we're also spiritual beings. So we are moved to action by our feelings. Now, this feeling that I care about this or I care about that so that I can get up and do it, that care is very important. You know this phrase that sometimes you hear from children or adults, I don't care. What does it really mean? I don't care. Which means that I since I don't care, I won't get up and do it, or it's not relevant to me, or I don't connect with it. So when somebody's at that place, can you inspire action in them? Any kind of action. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Can we inspire action in someone, in somebody who feels I don't care about this? I know there's a lag, so I'll just keep going, okay? So type in and let me know if what your thoughts are. But I don't care, or when somebody doesn't care, they won't be moved to action. Whether it's about learning, whether it's about any kind of task, work, anything, anything. We are moved to action because we care. Charlotte Mason, this wise woman, she said, the question is not how much does the youth know when he has finished his education, but how much does he care? It's when we care about something, that's when we get up and do something, right? Um, who is going to teach our children to care? Who's in the best position to teach our children to care? care about others' feelings, care about nature, care about elders, care about their learning, care about knowledge and wisdom, care about, morals, care about all these things. The teacher in us or the mother in us? Who who can emotionally connect with us? The teacher in us or the mother in us? This is somebody saying, how do we teach children to care? That's the hardest thing. Yes, that's the hardest thing to teach. If you leave the mother out of the equation, when you approach it like a teacher, then it gets difficult. But when you're really teaching it like with your connection, with your relationship, the mother in us is in the best position to teach it, not the teacher in us. So I guess we have to ask ourselves this question: who within us, which role that we play is in the best position to raise a complete human being? A human being is not just a mind, not just a brain, not just, a human being has emotions, we have intellect, we have a spirit, we have everything, right? So as mothers, we have a lot more access to a child. We can really access this child because we can get to the heart of the child, right? With our love and nurturing, we can get to the heart of the child. So again, coming back to our role as parents, and I want to wrap this up right here, because this is an exhaustive topic, but in summary, our um, the biggest risk is in homeschooling is losing a parent, and the parent becoming something else. Losing a parent and losing a home. And losing a home is a consequence of losing a parent, right? We don't want our children to lose us as a parent. The teaching part, or um, the strictly school like teaching part, can take over. We have to be mindful of that because we went to school, we lived our life in a certain way, right? And we have a conditioning that with which we come to homeschooling. And when we apply that, that is going to hurt our relationship, and that's not worth it, right? So the best way to approach home education is to kind of put everything aside, like completely put aside what we are, whatever is our subconscious programming, and reprogram ourselves and rethink this entire business of homeschooling. And that's the only way we can do things in a way that it does not compromise our relationship with our child. Our relationship as our relationship with the child as a parent-child relationship. So I think I'll just take some questions now. Anybody has any questions or any comments, please let me know. I'm not sure why I'm not very audible on Yahoo, not Yahoo. What is this? Facebook. So I hope yeah. I will save this video, so inshallah I'll share it. Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone again. I don't know why. That's my default filler word. I came at 3 and you weren't on the thought it was cancelled. Oh, and I thought it was cancelled. No, it wasn't cancelled. Don't worry about it. This will get saved and inshallah you can access it and you can watch it again. Yes, you can watch it again. It will be saved on IGTV, and I'll have the recording even on Facebook. And yeah, you can ask me any questions you have right now, if you have any questions. Somebody saying thank you for all the efforts. For all the efforts. Okay, yeah, I missed it. Is there? Oh, okay. Thank you, Jazakallah khair wa yakum. Anybody on Facebook has any questions, comments? I see some people on Facebook. That's nice. Um, Tashi is saying, can you say the question again? I'm not sure what question you're talking about, Tashi. Uh, Zainab is saying, Jazakallah khairan, Kathira, extremely crucial points you made. Thank you. Wayakum. Hyver is saying, what if you feel like you're not going to be good at homeschooling and you think it's better for your kids to go to school? The first question to ask yourself is, what makes you think you're not going to be good at homeschooling? It's certainly based on what you perceive homeschooling to be, right? You have a certain vision, a certain image in your mind about what homeschooling should look like, and you see yourself not measuring up. And that's why you reach this conclusion, right? That I may not be good as as good at homeschooling. So you have to ask and understand the difference between um, uh, there is a difference between schooling and education. You have to kind of make that distinction. Education education is different from schooling. Schooling is a means, and schooling is just it's a specific setting, and it has its own parameters, and it's delivered in a certain way. It has its format. If you're imposing that on yourself and judging yourself whether or not you will be good enough, then that's an unfair comparison to make, right? Because you are a mom, you're at home. What you can achieve in your home in like a fraction of time is remarkably better than what a school can provide. And that's something that I cannot convince you in just one simple line. Uh, I'm doing currently running a program, the 10-day program, where I'm really shifting all of these beliefs and sharing how homeschooling should be approached and stuff. So if it's accessible for 2 more days. It's for free. You can just use my profile and go in and sign up for that and watch it, because there I'll really break it down and show you what you're uniquely capable of, which schools cannot provide. That's just the reality of things, and you will be able to achieve those same things, those same educational goals. Educational goals can be achieved in the fraction of time. And even the resources, we have this understanding that what children really need is the pedagogy, the curriculum, the resources, the technology that is there at the school. How can I ever match up to that? But more than any of that, what you're really um, when you're educating a person, those things are tools, right? But what you're really teaching the person is to care, like we discussed earlier. When a child truly cares, when they are curious, when they are motivated to learn, when they can be moved to action because they care and they are interested and they're compassionate and then they are curious, when all of those qualities are present in a person, they are amazing. You can educate them so easily, right? So what schools do is they harness on these qualities, but schools cannot actually provide that. So they use all those tools to harness that. But you as a parent, even in the absence of those resources, can do a much better job. And this is not me speaking. This is developmental psychologists speak about this. There are people, and I can reference you and share some resources with you. They are speaking about this. School is not a developmental need. You are the developmental need that the children have. Schools can only harness that, and you as a mother can provide all the nourishment and teach in the fraction of time. It's really like in my program, and I this is the next thing that I'm going to share in this 10-day program. You literally do school for 2 to 3 hours a day. The remaining time, you provide a nourishing, enriching environment to your child where they learn to preserve this self motivation, and they become self directed, and eventually they grow into this person who owns their education. I mean, how easy it is, or let's put it a different way. How difficult it is to teach someone who doesn't want to learn, or to make somebody do something that they don't want to do. How difficult is it? It's very difficult, right? But what about the person who wants to learn? What about the person who's motivated to learn? What about the person who is inspired to learn? What about the person who is self-aware, confident, and driven? There's no stopping such a person, and you can do that as a mother, as unless you really have your, like you have certain limitations, like your circumstances don't allow you. Like, let's say you have to work, you have to provide for your family, there's not enough time to give time and attention to this child. You're not able to kind of like you have, like, you're mentally not at the right place, you're physically not at the right, like your health is compromised, something like that. Then definitely I would say that yes, a school would be a better place. But in the absence of that, if you're capable, uh, there's no stopping you. Like, you can really create the most enriching environment for your children. And this has been proven again and again. I can share with you statistics like homeschool children, and I'm when I say homeschool children, I'm obviously making a very broad generalization, but for the most part, a lot of universities have come out and said that they find that homeschool children tend to be very they tend to have their own thought process. They tend to be very uh, because I guess they are not in that peer setting where they're trying to fit in constantly. And if they are really accepted by the parent, and the parent has really provided that kind of nurturing environment where they can fully grow and develop into a complete being, where they hold their own, where they are not having these uh, relationships with their peers, which are kind of like peer dependent relationships, right? So then they really develop into themselves, and they are able to voice their opinions. They are able to hold their own. They are able to direct their learning. They are able to like really confidently lead their own life, because I guess they have received the environment where they could flourish as a person. Now, whether or not we are capable of providing that, we are totally capable of providing that. Absolutely, 100%. We are capable of providing that. And I don't know how many times I need to repeat this, but we are capable of providing that. Uh, we have to just go and look at the examples, look at the research, look at everything, and the evidence is right in front of us. The question is, how do we do it? How do we do it? How do we make this happen? And I just shared a free resource that you can access right now, but there's a lot of books you can read. There's a lot of things you can do. And I know a lot of parents feel overwhelmed when they think about homeschooling. And a lot of this overwhelm or this complication comes from looking at homeschooling through the rose tinted glasses, so to speak. You're looking at it from the point of view of, I am replicating school. And that's where the problem lies. If we can just shift all of that and throw all of that aside and rethink this, you'll be amazed at what is possible within a few hours every day, within your home, with your limited resources. You don't need a Montessori type classroom for this. You don't need anything. You just need to be a good parent who is present with the child. That's it. Um, and you can do it. And I cannot emphasize this enough. You can totally do it. And, for those of us who've been homeschooling for a while, we've seen it. We have these moments where we literally, like, we feel gratitude. We start crying that what has Allah made accessible to us? What is this beautiful life that Allah has given us? And it is not going to take away from you as a person. It will not. So don't be afraid. The problem is you're looking at this entire thing from the eyes of a person who is busy comparing a school with your home, school with your home, school with your home. No. Just understand that there is a lot that the school cannot do, which what you can do in your home. There's no comparison. It's like night and day. But yes, if you're not at a good place, if you're confused, if you're like, but those things you will have to address. And there are programs like my program, and there's a lot of people who are sharing this other side of things. Like, come around and look at the world from our point of view. We are here to teach you. We are here to share what we know, what we have worked hard to kind of gather together. We are here to share that with you. You can send your questions to us. You can ask us questions. We want what we have experienced ourselves. We want for you what we are experiencing ourselves, and it's so beautiful. It's just amazing. Like, imagine a child who's lit up, who's excited to learn. Like yesterday, and I'm going to share this on my page. There's this interview that I do with my kids just to know where they are, and I ask them this question. Um, is there one thing that you would like to change about our homeschooling? Is there no, not that question. There was one question I asked where I said, what is that one skill that you think you are good at that you would like to improve even more? So they both gave me different answers for that. Then I asked the question, is there one skill or one area where you think you're struggling, which you would like to work on? They both gave me an answer for that. Then I asked a third question, and this was a trick question because I wanted to check something else. I asked a question, is there one area where you're struggling which you don't think you can improve anymore, which you don't think you can make any better? You've tried a lot, it's not really working, it's not getting any better. Is there anything like that? They both said no. They both said no, and I can tell you, this this is not the story for most of the kids. They feel defeated, they feel crushed, They feel I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, or I can never be good enough, I hate this, I hate that. This is so common when the kids are not around the parents. They are at the mercy of an institution, at the mercy of whatever time the teacher can make for their individual needs. They're at the mercy of this institution which has set parameters to judge them, and anything outside of that, they don't get that validation, they don't get that encouragement from that system, right? So when I heard this from the children, I was so happy to hear that, like, they really have the growth mindset which I want them to have, because there's nothing that you can't learn, there's nothing that you can't improve upon. And that's all I wanted to see when I was asking them those questions. Even when I asked them, like, what are you excited about learning this year, they had a list of things. And I also asked in the end, is there something that you would like me to add for this year that you are interested in learning? They both had something to add. Mashallah, this is something that you start experiencing as a parent, and you feel gratitude. You feel like, why was I even doubting this? Why was I even like debating this? Why have I spent so much of my time wondering if I'm enough? Why did I spend all that time doing this? You want to scream off the rooftops and tell this to everybody. And I guess I'm doing that right now. But you see the point, right? So it's just a different, very different lifestyle. It's just a very different experience. And once you really tune yourself into it, and once you connect back to your own intuition as a parent, once you start um, you know removing these parameters and rethink and reimagine your educational goals, everything changes, everything shifts, inshallah. Okay, I guess I'm done talking. I should get going. Any last comments or questions? And I will wrap up in exactly 2 minutes, inshallah. Sabrina is saying, yes, I've learned a lot. Jazakallah khair for your efforts. Wayakum. Alhamdulillah. Uh, oh, hey, that's, I don't know what's your name, but oh, hey, it's Amnizal is saying, love this. Alhamdulillah. This is fantastic, guys. I had a good time talking to you all. Um, for those of you who want to learn, um, those of you who want to learn more about homeschooling, or a particular way that I approach education, home education, I have created a framework that really puts all these competing pieces together, and I'm offering that for free right now. It's loaded with value, but I'm doing it for free right now, and I'm never going to do it for free in the future. So if you want to access that, you can click on my profile and sign up. I have it up only for 3 more days, and then it will be gone. You won't have access to it after Sunday. So you can go ahead and access that and watch it. If you're debating about homeschooling, watch it, learn about it. I will be breaking down in the program. I will be breaking down and addressing a lot of myths that we have and concerns that we have about homeschooling. And inshallah, it will really help you. And you will be able to, inshallah, take a decision whether or not this is for you, whether or not this is worth the effort. And for those of you who have been doing it in a way where you're burning out and going crazy and stressed out, it will really create this big picture overview, a clear picture to help you understand your role, to help you understand that, how much you need to prioritize your children's developmental needs, and how do you approach their education in a completely new way. Basically, I'm really going to help you rethink education in a new way through this program, and it's for free. So go ahead and access it and benefit from it. Mariam is saying, I'm on day 4 listening. It has helped a lot. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. So excited for the playback. Awesome. 3 more days. Mama Teacher Pay saying, yes, 3 more days, and then it will be gone. Please benefit from it. I don't know what I would have done to have a resource like this for myself. I really don't know what I would have done for this. I have spent so many years in frustration as a homeschool parent, and seriously, seriously, this is a lot of homeschooling moms like me are sharing things with you all, and I know that you know we all have gone through difficulties, and we know how much of a difference it makes to hear from someone, and especially in a way that it's broken down and it's explained in a clear manner. So we are moved to action, like we care, like I mentioned earlier. We really care about this, and that's why we come and share. And whenever you see someone talk about the big picture overview and the rethinking part, seize on that. The curriculum sharing and everything. I know that I personally don't think that helps as much as this. So this is how I do it, because I know this would have helped me, like just to understand what am I supposed to do, what is all this, how much am I supposed to do, how do I approach this. All of that is very confusing. And I know, like, a lot of parents, like I just this morning I got a message from someone asking, my daughter is 4 years old, what resources should I use? I am homeschooling for the first time. Like that kind of a question, I can give her a straightforward answer what resources she can use. But I don't know the child, I don't know the mother. Even if I give her the resources, it could become like a waste of money. It may add stress to the mother or stress to the child. So I refrain from giving those out, because it's so specific to families. It's so specific to the parent. And many a times you don't even need a resource. So I think the parents really need to get in touch with themselves more than anything else, get in touch with their role as a parent, get in touch with the needs of the children, through observation and learning about children's needs, and everything else can follow. And everything else that follows will only help you harness what you build in the child as a parent. That harnessing part is easy. This part is the more critical part, and this is what you need to safeguard as a parent. This is like the foundation, and everything else is like what builds on top of it. So that's why I do this. This is why this is a focus in my program and on my page, and that's how I personally think you will be able to benefit the most. Duas from the heart, Mariam is saying. Thank you so much, Mariam. You enjoying and learning. May Allah reward you enormously. Thank you. Um, Jazakallah khair for all your duas. I really need it. Still learning, always thinking not enough to be a teacher. Yeah, you are. I have the next session on Saturday and Sunday, the live classes. Make sure you attend those if you're already in the program, because that's where I'm really bring it together. And I'll give you um, I'll open up something that will really shift everything. Inshallah, inshallah. I'm really looking forward to those sessions. So make sure you come on Saturday noon and Sunday noon inside the program. I will tell you where I'm going to do the live class. I think it's going to be inside the Facebook group that I created for the course. Um, how do you manage husband? Please share its important skill while homeschooling. Okay, so the first thing that you do is, husbands are not they can't read our mind. So one of the first mistakes, and this is again going into the wife things, but um, I have noticed that husbands need to be told very clearly what we want, and we tend to not do that. We tend to expect them to understand, and we have our own mind where we think, this not being enough is also applies over there. Like, I need to do everything to be worthy. I need to be this amazing wife. I need to be doing everything, and I need to be like on top of everything, and then I'm worthy. This has to go from our mind. We have to understand that we have limitations as a person. We cannot be doing everything. And if you're doing everything, the quality of each of those things is going to come down. So we have to learn to ask for help. We have to communicate our priorities clearly with our husbands, and we have to ask them to help us. And most of the times, the husbands are willing to help provided we communicate. The problem is, we are too busy trying to prove to the world that we are good at everything and we are amazing and there's like we are perfect. Like, as women, we have a little bit of that tendency, so we have to address that. This may not be the case with you, but I'm just saying that's the generic problem. That was certainly my problem. First year homeschooling, okay. It's all worth the worth. Loved course all the way through. May Allah reward you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're on the course. Do you think following a curriculum is good? So here's the thing. In a building, when you're building a building, okay, you lay the foundation and you use the best materials to lay the foundation. Then you wait for that foundation to dry up, right? You give it its due, and then on top of that you start building. So curriculum, good or not good, is not the question. The important thing to consider here is your foundation strong enough? Have you built your foundation? Now you can see what kind of building I want to build. based on my needs, based on my blueprint. This is the kind of building I want to build. So I think for this kind of bricks, this kind of, these kind of bricks will be good, or this kind of wood will be good, or this kind of structure will be good. The bricks and the structure and the wood is your curriculum. That comes much later. And this is something that I broke down in the program to show where is the problem coming from. And I use diagrams to explain this, and that will help you if you are in the program. I think it's on session 7 or 6 um, inside the program. Do you think following a curriculum? Oh, I already answered that. Jazakallah khairan. When the kids enjoy learning, can it be possible to homeschool on holidays? Oh, yes. I mean, homeschooling is a lifestyle thing. Yes, you can do, but it takes a lot of undoing what the school does. And I would say that as a parent, just watch for the cues. If you see your child struggling and not really, the school is not meeting their needs, then you can decide whether you want to full time commit to homeschooling. But if the child is thriving in a school setting, sometimes the school is a good place for the children. They may find good teachers. Um, and yes, you can homeschool on the side. Yes, certainly. Homeschooling is parenting, excellence in parenting. So there's a lot of overlap. Most of us, even if a child goes to school, we'll follow up on the homework, we'll help them learn, we'll be on top of things, right? Homeschooling just means taking full control and being responsible completely. Um, Zainab is asking, are there any books concerning attachment, parenting, family, and love that you would recommend? I have personally not come across a book in a comprehensive manner. Somebody was sharing a book on the other day about this, but I don't remember the name right now. One book that I did read right in the beginning of my homeschooling journey was Hold On to Your Kids, and that's about peer orientation and peer pressures and all of that. But that's not the it's not about attachment. I actually study this, so a lot of these things that I'm sharing is from learning in a proper program. Um, but yeah, if I come across any book, inshallah, I'll share. Also, where can we access the recording of this session? I think it will be saved on Facebook and it will be saved on Instagram, IGTV, and I will also upload it on YouTube so that you can access it. By the way, I also have a podcast. I have only 2 episodes on there, on that podcast. Maybe I'll upload this on that. It's called as Leaders Amongst Mothers. Leaders Amongst Mothers. Okay? All right? Okay, I'll see you guys later. Jazakallah khair for joining me. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. See you.